Bright Duty. Every student matters.
Hello dear students, welcome to another lecture. In this class, we are going to discuss and solve the worksheet number 3 of the reading section given in your book. So, let us start reading. So, Middle Island is a beautiful, rugged and windswept outcrop of the coast of southern Victoria in Australia. It is home to a colony of the world's smallest penguins, originally known as fairy penguins. Now they are called little penguins, and they are just that, little, standing at 30 to 40 centimeters tall. So what are we discussing about in this passage? As I tell you that always, from the first paragraph only, we are going to get a hint of what the passage is about. So we shall talk about Middle Island and the penguins that live on it. So Middle Island is a beautiful place. It is rugged. It is not smooth and even. Rather, it has got some uneven structures on it. It is windswept outcrop. Outcrop means a formation of rock. So basically, it is a formation of rock which is exposed to strong winds and is situated on the coast of southern Victoria in Australia. It is a home to a colony of world's smallest penguins. These penguins are originally known as fairy penguins, and now they are called little penguins as they are just 30 to 40 centimeters tall. Now, there used to be hundreds of them on the Middle Islands before the foxes got to know them. So until the foxes started eating these penguins, killing these penguins, there were hundreds of penguins on the Middle Island. We went from a point where we had around 800 penguins down to where could find out only 4, says Peter Abbott from the Penguin Preservation Project. In our biggest bird kill, we found 360 birds killed over about 2 nights. Foxes are thrill killers. They will kill anything they can find. So according to Peter Abbott, who is from the Penguin Preservation Project, there were 800 penguins that lived on the Middle Island, and there was a time when they could find only 4. He talks about the fact that foxes can kill anything, and foxes are the killers, and they have seen the biggest bird kill, in their time, when in just 2 nights, 360 penguins were killed by the foxes. That particular incident was in 2005, but the problem had been building up for a few years. Middle Island, which is uninhabited by humans, is separated from the mainland by a stretch of water measuring no more than 20 or 30 meters. At low tide and when sand builds up in the narrow channel, foxes can cross from the mainland, barely getting their paws wet. So Peter Abbott tells us that this incident took place in the year 2005. But ever since then, the problem has been only increasing. Now, Middle Island is uninhabited by humans. That means there is no human race which can be seen on that island. And that island is separated from the mainland only by a small stretch of water. And this stretch of water is just 20 or 30 meters wide. And because of the sand which has settled inside the water, the depth of the water is so shallow that the foxes can easily cross mainland to the island, and they do not even get their paws wet. So there is not even enough water that can get their paws wet. The problem first became apparent in 2000 when the sea's natural current led to increased sand buildup. Over time, the fox population increased as they had found an easy source of food. The little penguins faced being wiped out on Middle Island until a chicken farmer by the made-for-cinema name of Swampy Marsh, came up with the plan of sending one of his Merima dogs to protect the birds. So this problem first became apparent. This became very obvious and known to the people in the year 2000 when the sea's natural current, the flow of the sea, led to increased sand buildup inside it. And over a period of time, the fox population also increased because they had an easy source of food. Now the penguin population on the middle island started to be washed out. It was until a chicken farmer who had a very swampy marsh, a marshy land nearby, he came up with a plan and he sent his dog, a Mirema dog. Mirema is a species of a dog that he sent to protect the birds. In Australia, those dogs are generally used for chicken protection or goats or sheep, says Abbott. The dog, the first of several to be used on Middle Island, was called Oddbull, and Oddbull made quite an impact. So this technique was actually used in Australia, where such chicken farmers would use the dog to protect their goats, their chicken, their sheep. This was the first such experiment wherein a dog was sent to protect the penguins, and this dog was named as Oddball, and Oddball actually made a good impact. The after effects of Oddball preventing and protecting the penguins were actually good. We immediately saw a change in the pattern of the foxes, says Abbott. Leading up to when the dog went on the island, every morning we'd find fox prints on the beach. Putting a dog on the island changed the hierarchy. The foxes can hear the dogs barking, they can smell them, so they go somewhere else. So Abbott says that before there was a dog on the island, every morning they would see the fox prints on the beach. But now that a dog was there, the foxes could hear the dog barks and could also smell the dog being there. So they would go somewhere else. Amazingly, since Oddball and his first four-legged successors were introduced 10 years ago, not a single penguin has been killed by a fox on the Middle Island. The little penguin population has gone back up to almost 200. The current dogs patrolling Middle East are Yudi and Tula, named after the scientific terms for the little penguin, Eudiptula. They are the 6th and the 7th dogs to be used, and a new puppy is being trained by Peter Abbott and his team to start work in 2016. So since Oddball and his successors means that after Oddball there were more dogs that were used for such purposes. So since these 10 years, the trend has actually improved and not even a single penguin was killed by a fox on the Middle Island. The little penguins, the population has now increased to 200, and presently the two dogs that are protecting the penguins are Yudi and Tula, and these two dogs are named after a little penguin whose name was Eudiptula. So Yudi and Tula is derived from Eudiptula. Now Yudi and Tula are the 6th or the 7th dogs that have been sent with the same intention, and one more puppy is being trained by Peter Abbott and was to start the work in 2016. The dogs operate from October to March in the penguins' breeding season and spend 5 or 6 days a week on the island. Even when the dogs are not there, their lingering scent keeps the foxes away. The project has been such a success that a movie called Oddball has been made about it. So these dogs operate from October to March, and this is basically the season when the penguins breed, when they produce their offsprings, and the dogs spend 5 or 6 days a week on that island. Now, Peter Abbott says that even when the dogs are not there, there is a scent, there is the fragrance of the dogs that can be smelled by the foxes, and that keeps them at bay. And looking at the popularity and the success of this project, a movie called Oddball has been made about it. So you see, the passage seemed to be lengthy at the first go, but when we read it and when we solved it, it was so easy to understand and to interpret. Now let us discuss the back exercises. Choose the correct option. The name of the island on which the penguins lived is Middle Island. The penguins were getting killed by the foxes. The farmer saved the penguin by sending his dog to the island. And a movie on the penguins has been made, and the name of the movie is Oddball. Okay. What caused the penguins to face being wiped out? So what was the reason for the penguin population that was decreasing? The foxes. The foxes were eating the penguins, were killing them, and that was the reason for the decrease of their population. How were the penguins saved? The penguins were saved when a chicken farmer sent his dog onto the island to protect the penguins. What is the name of the project that was set up to save the penguins? So the project was Oddball, which was set up, used to save the penguins. Which year did the penguin project begin? Now, as it is very clearly written in your passage, now this project became in the year, just a second. Yes, so it began in the year 2005, right? Yes, so it began in the year 2005. Which part of the year do the dogs operate on the island? So from March to October, the dogs operate on the island 5 or 6 days a week. Okay. Now find the words from the passage that have the following meaning. Obvious is apparent. A social order or a ranking system is a hierarchy. One who succeeds or follows somebody is a successor. A rock formation is an outcrop. And exposed to strong wind is windswept. Now explain the following expressions. Foxes are thrill killers. Foxes are thrill killers means the foxes were very dangerous and disastrous and continued to kill the penguins, in large numbers. Penguins faced being wiped out means the population of penguins continued to get decreased. Oddball made quite an impact means Oddball helped in protecting and preventing and thereby improving the situation in totality. So with this, my dear students, we end up the discussion of worksheet number 3, and you yourself saw it was so easy for us to do it. The only trick I kept in mind was to underline all the words and important things that I came across in the passage. So with this, I'm going to pause here and we'll see you all now in my next lecture where we discuss worksheet number 4. So thank you.